Right, let's dive straight into this explainer because today we are exploring a seriously cosmic mystery. We're going to build a bridge between 13th century mysticism and cutting-edge modern science. We are basically going on a journey to question the very fabric of everything around us. Because, well, it turns out that the things you think are completely solid, the stuff you take for granted every single day, might actually just be a wildly convincing illusion.
To start, I want you to picture a dramatic shift in scale. Imagine absolute darkness. And then a single point of light appears. Suddenly, it erupts into this massive, burning star. The view pulls back, revealing a swirling, impossibly vast galaxy. But then we plunge in the exact opposite direction. We zoom all the way down, past the fundamental building blocks of matter, right through the microscopic architecture of a single biological cell, and finally arrive right in the center of the human eye.
Sit with that question for a second. We inherently trust our eyes, right? We trust our senses, we trust what feels solid under our feet, what feels separate from us, and what just feels undeniably real. It's how we get through the day without constantly bumping into walls. But what if that absolute trust in solid objects is entirely misplaced? What if your eyes are playing the ultimate trick on you?
So, the real question we've got to ask is whether the reality our senses perceive is the ultimate truth of the universe, or if it's just a really narrow, highly filtered slice of it. Think about all the stuff happening right around you at this exact moment. You've got Wi-Fi signals bouncing through the air, radio waves, radiation from space, and it is all completely invisible to you. Dogs can hear whistles we can't perceive. Bees see ultraviolet colors we can't even fathom. Your mind is only rendering a customized, super narrow version of reality that helps you survive. It's not necessarily the reality that actually exists.
And this isn't just some modern thought experiment caused by us staring at our phones all day. Throughout human history, way before we had particle accelerators or massive radio telescopes, some of the most profound thinkers across different cultures have been warning us about blindly trusting what we see. They looked at the exact same mountains, the same oceans, the same stars that we do, and they came to an incredibly radical conclusion. Appearance is absolutely not reality.
Section 1. Rumi's Ultimate Question, 800 Years of Seeking Truth. Let's travel back about 8 centuries to the ancient Persian world to find our guide for this journey.
You've probably heard the name Jalal al-Din Rumi. Today, he is incredibly famous worldwide as this beautiful poet of love. People quote him at weddings, they print his words on coffee mugs, you see his stanzas on canvases. But behind all that beautiful poetry was a much larger, foundational philosophical puzzle. He wasn't just writing pretty words to make people swoon, he was actually investigating the underlying architecture of existence itself.
This was literally his core philosophical inquiry. What is real? What do we actually see with clarity? And what is just a projection, like a trick of the mind, that we just imagine we're seeing? He approached this with such immense gravitas. He didn't just accept the world at face value. He actively tried to peel back all those layers of human assumption to find the raw, unvarnished truth underneath all the poetry and politics of his day.
Section 2. The Veil of Perception. How the Mind Interprets the World. We are now going to peel back the mechanics of this illusion.
Here is how this fascinating process actually works. Our senses, our eyes, our ears, our skin, they just gather raw, dumb data. They are basically just antennas picking up signals. But that data isn't the final truth. Remember, your brain is locked inside a dark, silent skull. It has never actually seen the outside world. It completely relies on those electrical signals. So at the exact same moment your mind reveals reality to you, it is actively interpreting, editing, and filtering it. It's a totally biased storyteller. I want to pose this critical question directly to you, just to kind of strip away that first layer of certainty we all have about everyday life. When you look at a towering oak tree, or a close friend, or literally just stare down at your own hand, are you seeing reality exactly as it exists in the vast universe? Or are you just looking at your brain's custom-built, highly edited interpretation of reality? Section 3. The World of Separation, Multiplicity versus Unity. If our minds are constantly interpreting everything, how do they categorize our lives? Well, we constantly rely on strict binaries to define pretty much everything in our existence. Think about it. We say me over here and you over there. We say inside my head and outside in the world. We separate matter from spirit, hot from cold, light from dark. We divide this fluid universe into billions of separate, manageable little boxes. Rumi called this the world of separation.
We look around and we see a universe of extreme multiplicity, where everything is disconnected and distinct. But here is where Rumi drops an absolute philosophical bombshell. He taught that this separation, the me and the you, the this and the that, might not actually be the final level of reality. In fact, he argued that this apparent multiplicity is just a veil. It's a highly convincing curtain that's hiding a much deeper, profound unity that holds the entire cosmos together in one continuous, unbreakable fabric.
Now, just to be super clear, we are talking about 13th century mysticism right now. This isn't literal laboratory science yet. Rumi wasn't plotting fundamental particles on a whiteboard or smashing atoms together. He had no labs, no white coats, and zero mathematical equations to prove this unity. He was focusing purely, intensely on the human experience of existence. He was diagnosing the human condition from the inside out.
Section 4, the mirror metaphor, reflection versus reality. To help his students grasp this incredibly abstract idea, Rumi used a really brilliant visual tool.
Next time you're standing right in front of a mirror in your bathroom, pay attention. When you look into that glass, what do you see? You see yourself. That image is undeniably real to your visual experience. You can see the color of your shirt, the expression on your face, if your hair is messy. But, and this is absolutely vital, that image is not actually you. It doesn't have a mind or lungs or a heartbeat. It is merely a reflection. It's real as a reflection, but it entirely lacks the substance of the actual object.
Rumi took that simple, everyday bathroom mirror metaphor and literally blew it up to the scale of the cosmos. If what we see in the mirror is just an image, what if everything we see in the physical world is also just a kind of reflection? This doesn't mean the universe is some fake, meaningless illusion. Not at all. It means we are looking at the reflection of reality, not the entirety of it. We're only seeing the surface. The deep, heavy substance of the universe is hiding just out of sight.
Section 5. The Quantum Twist. From Mysticism to Science. For hundreds of years, this just sounded like really beautiful poetry. But a major paradigm shift was coming.
For centuries, classical physics, think Isaac Newton and his famous falling apple, gave us this beautiful, incredibly predictable picture of reality. The universe was viewed as a giant mechanical clock. Matter had very specific properties. Objects had definite measurable positions. If you pushed something, it moved. Causes produced highly logical effects. It was a universe of solid, separate things. It made perfect, comforting sense to our human brains, reinforcing everything our eyes told us was true.
But science didn't stop there. We decided to look deeper. We descended from that predictable, classical, Newtonian world down into the building blocks of matter. We found the atom. We thought that was the absolute bottom, but then we looked closer and found the electron. And then we fell completely down the rabbit hole into the microscopic depths of the universe, the quantum realm.
And when we finally arrived down there, something terrifying and magnificent happened. Suddenly, without warning, reality just stopped behaving like reality. The solid, predictable, mechanical universe completely dissolved. The very things Rumi warned us about 800 years ago, that separation is an illusion and appearance is merely a veil, suddenly started staring back at us from the complex equations of quantum physicists. We found particles being in two places at once, entangled across vast distances as if they were one unified thing. Have we been living in a scientific mirror this entire time? That is the ultimate question I leave you with today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep questioning what you see.